making too much noise. That they can't hear me talk because y'all making too much noise. That's what they said. I'm just passing it on. So if you in the noisy group, then calm down.
Yes, Pastor Daniel.
There you go. There you go. Rob, why you ain't quiet them down?
All right. I tried.
Thank you, Rob.
I tried.
Okay, y'all, thank you. I mean, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. We're in Proverbs chapter 19. I'm sure you guys have already had prayer because I heard you over here testifying. So, we're in Proverbs and we're starting Proverbs 20, 19 and 20. Okay? We start Proverbs 19 and 20. Okay. All right. As always, just as a preface, Proverbs is simple, it's straightforward. It is the kind of stuff that if you take it in, it will improve your life tremendously. Okay, there are many books in the Bible that we read for historical purposes. There are many books in the Bible that we read just so we can show ourselves, approved, so we can look good when we, talking to folks, like we know the word, we drop a text somewhere once in a while. Proverbs is the one you read for yourself. This is the one that you read so you can improve your life and then you can walk around like you got good sense. Okay? All right. Now, the best thing that we learn in Proverbs is. Thank you for asking that question. She said, what is it? The best thing that you can learn in Proverbs is how much you don't know.
Amen.
That's the key component right there. Because if you read Proverbs, this is what you get out of it. That most people, according to Solomon, walk around assuming they are smart. Assuming they are intelligent. And his position is, the minute you make an assumption, you have made yourself a fool. That your position always ought to be that I need to learn more. That there's so much I need to know. When you step out that way, it helps you to view life and view things differently. Okay? It helps you to view people differently. Okay? For example, you know why we get angry with people? You know why you really get angry with people? I'll tell you why. Because I know you're going to say, why do I really get angry with people? It's because you don't know them. Now I know what you're saying. No, yes I do. No, you don't. Because if you really knew them, you wouldn't get angry with them. Okay? For example, how many of you all get angry with the ice if you slip and fall?
I have. I broke my foot.
No. Did you go back and curse the ice out?
No.
I know. You know why? Because you know what you say to yourself? The ice is slippery. Now, I don't like the idea of slipping, but I ain't going to blame the ice. Why? I saw the ice. I walked out on the ice. I slipped on the ice. I don't go back and curse the ice out because I knew the ice.
I blame the shoes I had.
Follow me? Right. So but did you curse your shoes out? Because you didn't know your shoes. So if you knew your shoes, who should you have cursed out? The one that bought them. Or the one that wore them on that day. Right? The point is, when you know people, you don't expect other than what they give you. When you don't know people, you expect them to give you what you would give them, or what you think they would give. See, that's why you don't get mad at a 2-year-old because they can't read. Because you don't expect a 2-year-old to read. But a 12-year-old, you're a little warm. Why can't you read? Right? You follow? That's why Proverbs are so important. Okay, verse 20. Here's what it says. Any questions about that? If there are, please let me know. Okay? Here's what it says. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. Okay? Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. And this is telling you just what I just finished telling you, right? That basically is that if you want to know somebody, if you want to be wise, you have to be willing to accept that you need to learn. See, the minute you think you don't need to learn, you stop hearing counsel. You stop listening to counsel, and you stop receiving instruction. So what Solomon is saying basically is this. You know how we say there is no fool like an old fool? Amen. Well, Solomon is saying, yes, there is a fool like an old fool, and there are many of them. Because that's his point, precisely, is that when you stop learning, you become a fool. When you stop telling yourself you need to learn, you become a fool. When you stop seeking knowledge, he said, you become a fool. Okay? Make sense? Sure. How many fools in the room? Raise your hand. All right. Yeah, many of us have foolish tendencies, right? Right. There are 21 and 23 kind of go hand in hand. There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. 23 says, the fear of the Lord tendeth to life, and he that hath it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. Okay? Now, basically, what this is telling us is that which we know, but oftentimes don't practice. Okay? So, he's saying is this, is that you may have many ideas about what ought to be. You may have many ideas of how you can succeed. He's saying, but the best ideas are always the ones that come from God. You know? Because your idea of success may not be the one that makes you happy. But if you follow God's plan, you will have joy. Okay? Absolutely. So what? How does that play out in everyday life? Not just talk to him. A lot of us talk to him. Listen to him, and also go by what we read in the Bible. Let me give you a good example. There's a text in the Bible that says something like this. If you want a friend, you must be friendly. How many people you know will say you ain't friendly, and they have never tried to be your friend? And the thing about it, people will come into a situation and they'll say, those people in there ain't friendly at all. And they have never walked up to you and tried to be your friend. Because their concept is, I came into this, this general area. Why aren't y'all speaking to me? Right? That's how people think, right? I came here, why aren't you speaking to me? Well, why ain't you speaking to me? Well, what's wrong with your tongue? Your tongue tied up? See, the Bible says if you want a friend, show yourself friendly. That means when you come into a situation, you don't wait for people to come to you. You go up to them and say, hey, how you doing? My name is such and such and such. How you doing? You smoke? No. I smoke too. Do you pass when you pop? I do too. Cause what? This is what? I got cataract? You got cataract too. Okay, that's a joke, right? That's a joke. But the other part is sincere. It's sincere, right? Is that, listen, if I want to become, if I want to have friendships, if I want to be friends, then what I have to stop doing is saying they so cliquish over there. No, they're not cliquish. You just didn't show yourself friendly. So you walk up to the clique. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? See, you find out why they got their clique and then just become a part of the clique. That's how you show yourself friendly. You think I'm kidding? I'm serious. See, every clique has a reason for being a clique. It's simple. They have something what? In common. We act like that's being a clique. No, it ain't. It's just they got something in common. And if you got something in common, they'll bring you in. Right? Let's try this for a second. Right quick, right? Let's for a second. All the girls think they're cute. click together, except for one. Right? See, the ones that think they're cute click together. The one who is cute, she go with somebody. She hang out by herself. Why? Because the ones that think they're cute always saying, she thinks she's cute. Right? Right? Now, the deal is this. All the cute girl got to do is just come over there with the other girls that think they're cute and tell them how cute they are.
Yeah.
Then she'll fit right in. Girl, y'all looking so good over here. I'm gonna tell you, I need to hang out with y'all, but y'all look good. Okay? That's all you gotta do. I'm just saying, the same thing applies. Anytime you want to get with a group, you just figure out why that group is together, and you just approach them. Now, some groups you don't want to be with that way. Right? But I'm just saying, before you can say that group is unfriendly, you have to what? Show yourself friendly to the group. But that's why I say we don't always practice it. But, that's what the word says, okay? So, bottom line is simple, and that is what? Rather than me working on my ideas, if I want to succeed, I must start to say, what does the Bible suggest I do? What does the Bible say how I should respond, right? How should I do? How should I move? How should I do? Right? Like what? We talked about what? Becoming wealthy. How do you become wealthy? So what? Well, he said the way you become wealthy. Hang around. Yeah, because you're a good thief. Hang around with other people. You steal from them, right? No. When you become wealthy is you save, according to the Bible. See, the Bible says when you become wealthy is you have a systematic saving plan. Right? The Bible says if I want to become wealthy, the two things I do: have a systematic saving plan, and I don't get credit. Right. That's what the Bible says. See, if you want to be wealthy, it says what? Save and don't get a lot of credit. Because the more you have credit, the less what? Wealth you have. The more debt you have, the less wealth you have. We think about it the opposite way. I got the big old house, and I got a $500,000 mortgage on it. No, you're not wealthy. You are broke. Because you got $500,000 for debt. The person that's got the $50,000 house, right, that paid for, they are the ones that's wealthy because they don't have debt. Follow me? Yeah. And if you're living off 80% of your income like the Bible subscribes, right, then what? Over a period of time, what? You obtain wealth. So if I'm living off 80% of my income within 1 year, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm working for 10 years, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, in 10 years I have at least 1 year's worth of salary saved up. Right? And for most of us, 1 year worth of salary in our minds is what? I'm pretty wealthy. I have a whole year in the bank. Right?
Yeah, and your house paid off.
Well, even if your house ain't paid off, you got a year banked up, you're doing all right. But if you got a year, well, anyhow. Okay? All right. Now, if you do that, see, when you get my age, right, what? Now you got about what? 6 years worth of your income saved up. Yeah, because see, you've been doing it for what? Now you're about 65. I ain't 65 yet, but I'm getting right around the corner. I can spit and hit 65. When you're right around the corner, you've been doing this for so many decades. For every decade, you got these 3 years salary saved up. You follow me? So then you're doing good. So when you retire, you straight, you're good to go. You really live that. So you know how some folks retire and then I'm on the fixed income. So they can't do nothing? But see, then when you retire, what? You can do everything you always wanted to do. Because you ain't got but so many years to live. Okay. No, but it's true. Oh, you ain't going to live forever. Okay, who y'all? You ain't got but so many years left. But you got what? All this money saved up. And you still get your Social Security, and you ain't trying to leave it for your children. Why? Why should they spend all you saved up for? They I'm going to South Africa. I'm going to ride on a rhinoceros. Jump in the airplane. Why? You live large.
True, true.
That's what you do. That's the thing. All right. If you adhere to number 20, and then you do what I just said, and that way when you get old, you're going to be as happy as you can be. Okay, if you're already old, well, okay. Where we going? All right. Okay, we've covered the other verses earlier, so now we're jumping down to 27. Because we covered the other ones earlier, and as we grouping verses together, right? So now we're down to 27. And 27 says, "Cease, my son, to hear the instruction that causes to error from the words of knowledge." Let me read that again. Read it slow and purposeful, okay? Because I'm tired of counseling people when all they had to do was read this verse, okay? Cease, my son or daughter, to hear the instruction that causes to error from the words of knowledge. Your mama always told you the same thing, but you didn't listen to them. Cease to hear the instruction that causes to err from the words of knowledge. Okay, now, there you go. Stop taking advice from stupid people. Stop taking advice from people that are no better off than you are. Okay? Married folk, let me tell you something. If you come home and your wife got 3 guys in the bed, and she hollering, yippee-yi-yo-ki-yi. Do not call a single man up and ask him for advice. Do not do it. Because he only going to give you some stupid advice. You know what he going to tell you to do? If I do, I'll kill all of them. That's what he going to tell you. And you're going to go and shoot somebody, and then you're going to be locked up for the next 35 years. You better call you an old seasoned married man. They're going to say something like this. Boy, you just as lucky as you can be. Get out your cell phone. Go take some pictures and call your lawyer. Okay, that's a joke. However, that was just to get your attention, all right? However, but you get my point is simply, we oftentimes will take advice from folk that ain't got good sense themselves. You know, girl, he did this to me. Well, let me tell you, if I was you, I wouldn't put up with it. I wouldn't put up with it. Right? And she putting up with everything. Her baby dog inside the head, and she telling me, I wouldn't put up with it. Okay, think of just like what Whoopi say. See, Whoopi get whooped every other week, and she's telling Oprah what to do. Y'all call her y'all remember? See, don't take advice from nobody doing worse than you. Okay, right? Don't do it. Just what you say. At least hang around with somebody that got something. Take advice from them, right? Somebody if you want to know how to make some money, talk to somebody that got some money. Right? If you want to know how to have a good relationship, talk to somebody that's been married a while. Don't talk. Let me tell you something. Don't talk to divorced people. See, I don't ask no advice from divorced people personally. You know why? Because they couldn't figure it out. If they could, guess what? Because here's what divorced people going to tell you. It was their fault. See, they treated me wrong, and they cheated on me. What did God do with you getting a divorce?
Not always.
Huh?
That's not always. Well, so I don't think people would necessarily, I'm divorced, but I sincerely feel like
Who would leave, you or Solomon? Who would leave? Who stopped leave, you or Solomon?
well, you can believe me now, but.
Now, this is why I I said what? I'm tired of counseling people for not listening. When it says, cease. Cease to hear. But you know what? But see, what you're saying is common. Because our concept always is what? I've been there. See, I've been there. So therefore I can tell you, no, that ain't true. See, just because you have drowned before, don't mean you can tell me how to swim. All you know is what? I drowned. Or almost drowned. If you drowned, you can't talk. Okay, but if you almost drowned, that don't mean you can tell me how to swim.
I can only tell you my experience.
But that's the proxy. And that, my dear, is why this says don't do it. Because you're right. That's all you can tell them. It's your experience. But what you don't know, what you know is what caused you to break, not what you could have done to not break.
What have you done your work since then? Like,
What if you did what?
What have you done your work since then? Like reading your Bible and understanding where you went wrong, and not just looking at the other person, but yourself as well.
Okay, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay.
In the Bible.
I'm trying to keep, make it reasonable. Okay. Because when I'm on this side of the room, it's got to be doubly pointed. These folks just believe me because I'm the pastor. These folks. Except for Liz over here. You know real well Liz off tonight. You get back on verse 1. I love this Liz. Thank you, Liz, the other Liz. Here's what I'm trying to say. Here's what I'm trying to say. Now, my point is this. Okay, now, you're right that you read the Bible, right, and you can gain wisdom, and you can gain understanding, right? And the part of what we have to look at is this: how much of my reading the Bible do I really adhere to? See, that's the issue. See, and I'll give you a good example, a somewhat good example. My mother, whom I love dearly, right, often qualifies her knowledge of the Bible like this: God didn't intend it for you to not be happy. And I'm saying to myself, well, are you suggesting to me that when all these biblical figures went through all this hell, that he intended to be happy doing it? No. There wasn't an issue whether or not you was happy or not. Right. The issue was do what I tell you to do. Right. But see, that's her justification. So her thing is that if like say she came and said, I caught him with 3 men. Girl, let me tell you something. God didn't. I'm Let's say you with 3 men and 3 women, because you just bold like that. This how my mama would say, girl, God didn't intend for you to put up with that man and go through all that. God didn't intend for you. Now, how she know God didn't intend that? But that's what she would say. Now, how do I know what I'm saying this? Because there is a figure in the Bible, okay, whose wife was a prostitute. And God said, go back and get her. Oh, I know. So you said, wow, what did it tell me? Because see, you told my doctor, you dating a hoe? Let me tell you something. God didn't intend you to be dating no hoe. Drop her. And then what you tell your son, tell with you. But see, God told Hosea what? Go back and get her and bring her back. He said, I don't care how many times you go whoring, bring her back. I know, so that's a wild man.
T.D. Jakes said one time that a turtle and a giraffe can exist in the same cell but they can't eat from the same level.
That's right.
And he was speaking about advice, taking
Absolutely.
advice from people.
That's right. And that's the bottom line, isn't it? And that's what I'm saying. And so, now again, I'm not saying you can't give advice. I'm saying the wise person don't go to you for advice. See, the wise person, if I'm like, you know, I've been married since 1982, okay? I'm not gonna go to somebody that got married in 1990 for advice. I'm going to somebody that got married prior to 1982 if I got a problem. And they're still married, and they've been putting up with the same old mess for eons. Okay? Because they might not can tell me how to change the person, but they might be able to tell me how to put up with the mess for another 5 years. You know, something that you might not be able to tell me. Why? Because you couldn't figure out how to put up with it for the first time. So you might know the word and say a whole lot of things, but you might not be able to tell me how to put up with somebody's mess for the next 5 or however long they live. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing, you know, with finances. You know, a person can read the Wall Street Journal. They can look at, you know, the financial channels and all this stuff and be broke and can be quoting all this stuff about, do you know the Dow was up by, you know, 5 today, and S&P is, you know, trending and such, and dividends are they're doing okay right now, but you know, dividends normally operate opposite of stock. So therefore, now is the time you can buy dividends, because I can see swing. The trend is going down, so dividends can start coming up, buy low and sell high. And all that stuff will sound good, but they live in Section 8. But the reason why they know this stuff, because they sit at home all day and watch TV, because they're working on it. And so, you know, but you know, that sounds really good. But they see, if they did not know enough to put it into play, they can have all that information up here, but they didn't have enough to how to put it into play. Why would I listen to them? I'm listening to the person that is putting it into play and know what it feels like to take a loss and come back, because they're gonna be a little, you know, that's what I'm saying. That's what this is talking about right here. Is that get instruction from folk that don't lead you to error, because they have already led to themselves to success. You know, and whatever it is, whether it's marriage, whether it's career opportunities, all this kind of stuff. You know, that's what this is talking about. You know. Okay. Is that enough proof for this side of the room? All right. Okay. 27. Then we got to go 28, right? An ungodly witness scorneth judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devoureth iniquity. An ungodly witness scorneth judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devoureth iniquity. Liars don't like to be proven liars. That's the third aid in a nutshell is, if you want to make a liar bad, show him up to be a liar. That make him mad than anything else. That's how you know a liar lying to you half the time. When they're ready to fight, then once you show that line, then they're ready to fight. Well, who? Oh no, you trying to call me a liar? That's pretty much what that's trying to tell you that. Okay? All right. All right. 29 we've already covered, right? And that means what? 29 was already what we covered. If you don't follow 27, you end up in 29. Right? If you got some sense, then what? If God got some stripes waiting on you, some hinds gonna get whooped around here. Some behinds are gonna get whooped. Why? Because the point is what? That there are anybody that act like a fool gonna get the consequences of a fool, right? So the best thing to do is what? Cease from your foolish ways, right? I let the others in, and cease from your foolish ways. Okay. Any questions about 19? Any questions about chapter 19? I had a question. Yes, sir.
You said about being a liar. What if you get mad because you're telling the truth and somebody don't believe it?
What if you get mad?
I know you shouldn't.
So question is, what if you if you argue with the person, yeah, but here's what he said. I'm just gonna take by what he said and I'm not gonna add to it, okay? He said, what if you get mad if you're telling the truth and the person doesn't believe you? Okay, now, who does it hurt if they don't believe you?
The individual.
That's the question you gotta ask yourself, right? Now, let's say that, you know, it's the police, and they trying to, you know, get me for something I didn't do. It hurts me if they don't believe me, right? But do they believe me more if I get angry?
They don't believe you because what you say.
Right. The thing is what? If you don't believe me, now we get to what you said. If you don't believe me, then no matter what I got to prove it to you, because you cannot, here's the thing, you cannot prove a negative. You can only prove a positive. You can't prove what you did not do. You can only prove what you did. Proving what you did may in effect show what you didn't do, but you see, I can't prove that I was not here unless I prove I was there. Right. So you can't prove a negative, but you can prove a positive. Okay? So that's really what the issue becomes now. It's not me trying to prove to you I'm not lying, but I got to prove to you what I said made sense to be true. Because see, I wasn't there either. I told you that wasn't me. I know they look like me with my arms around her or him, but it wasn't. But it wasn't me. It won't. See, I can argue that all day long. You know what she's gonna say? It looked like you. It looked like you. So I'm trying to prove the wrong thing. What I need to prove is where I was at. So I need to say, look here. Hold on for a second. Can you please explain to her where I was at? Here's your mama on the phone. She can tell you I was over her house. Mama, that you? Was he over there with you? Yeah, he was with me planning your cooking party. Oh my God. You know, and really, that's the approach you have to take, because you cannot prove a negative, so you prove the positive. And that way, it's the end of the story. You know, and then it goes like what you said. If I keep arguing with you about the negative, it makes me foolish because I can't do it anyway. I can't prove I did anyone else when he got killed. It can't just be, you know me. You know I wouldn't kill nobody. No, I don't. I don't know anybody. Like people say, you know I wouldn't steal from you. I don't know you wouldn't steal from me. How am I going to know that? You think I trust you? Is that you? Or you? Or you? If you think that, you don't know me. Why you think I got 3 cameras back there in the counting room? 3 cameras and a camera back there. No, we ain't got a camera. I think that one is. But you know why we got 3 cameras? Because I don't trust neither one of them individually. That's right. Because anything can happen. Anything can happen. You know, let's say for the sake of argument, you're the honest person that you are. Okay? But your car's on E. and you mess around and left your pocketbook at home. And then you be like, you know what? I'm gonna take the $20. I'm gonna put the gas in there. I'm gonna put the $20 back next Sunday. And then next Sunday, I see your hand, bro. And then next Sunday come, and ain't nobody mentioned that 20 was missing. Then you be justifying it. Well, I stayed here for a whole hour counting money. They need to put some gas in my car. Anyhow. Yes.
What is the Bible say about trusting?
It says don't trust them. That's what the Bible says. You don't trust them. Right? Don't put your trust in man. Right? Now, okay, so this is the thing. Oh, she stole your pocketbook. forget what you said, all right? Don't forget. You, brother, don't forget, okay? Don't forget. But I got to say something about here right quick, okay? Last night, I was with someone, okay? And I hugged them, right? Had my phone, my cell phone in my pocket, right? And good, outstanding Christian, saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost all the way up to here. And I hugged them, right? And then I get in my vehicle, and I'm on my way home, and I said, Dad, where's my phone at? She said, in your pocket. Something's in my pocket. He said, no, it ain't. I said, that joker, that's this What happened with this is that, because I'm all the way home, and I ain't just heard this, right? But all the way home thinking, I know that joker ain't. But what happened was, I had set my phone on the console in between here, and she lifted it up to get the charger out, and it fell back. But I was telling her, call. Call and see what. So I could see like, in the vehicle, and I didn't hear it ringing, and it didn't flash. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then when I got home, I did it. How you find your iPhone, and it said your iPhone is around here somewhere. It's 0 miles, somewhere around here. So then I went back and looked, and I found it. Dropped down. And what I realized was this. The phone, even though this is an old iPhone, but it still got the new iOS stuff on it. So it went automatically into night mode. And on night mode, it doesn't blink when the phone is ringing. No fish. All right, I know that ain't nothing new to class, but back to what he was saying about the trusting people, right? Here's the deal. Here's what God said, right? That it repented him that he had made man because of man's inability to be trustworthy. Okay? Now, think about this for a second. If man will lie to God, why won't man lie to you? Right? Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, wait a minute. You mean tell me, Pastor Daniel, that all these folk in here will lie to God? Yes. All these folk will not only lie, but will lie to God. Because all these folk in here at one point in life will say, Lord, if you get me out of this situation, right? Or we said something like this. We went to a New Year's Eve service and everything was going right and we were going, Jesus, oh hallelujah. You know what, this year right here, come to church every Sunday. It's my new year. Come to church every Sunday, and I'm going to serve the Lord. And then what happened about 2 streets west down the road? Boom, it's over with. Done deal, it's over with. Who we lied to? God. That's why Jesus said what? Let your question be yea, yea, nay, nay. Anything else, you messed up. Okay? Because it's a bunch of lies in here. You can't trust your mama. You can't. Think about it. Has your mama ever asked you to lie for? Tell the truth. Don't make hands. Hey, don't you? Huh? Yours ain't. You a rare girl. Because my mama has had me lie for her plenty of times. Tell my name. That's a lie. No, when we were growing up, and my little sister believed there was a Santa Claus. Your mama said, don't tell that girl ain't no Santa Claus. You better not tell her, I'll whoop your behind. That's telling me to lie. So I got to tell my little sister, there really is a Santa Claus. Now I know we ain't got no chimney. How he getting in the house? If he survived in this neighborhood, one of them reindeer be on somebody venison. You don't need to go in here. Okay, all right. Proverbs 20. Proverbs 20. If there's any more questions? Any more questions on my team? We're going to 20. Going to 20. Okay. Proverbs 20. Proverbs 20. Proverbs. Brother Watson? Verse 1. Proverbs 20. I wish Ivy was in here. Can somebody text Ivy this scripture right here? Wine is hard. Strong drink is raging. And is not wise. Now, I say that in yes, I really don't think Ivy, as you do it. Ivy, this for you. I really don't think Ivy is a wino. but here's what this is referring to. When it says, wine is a marker, strong drink is raging, whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. It is not saying, well, here's what it is saying. Forget the not. Here's what it's saying. Why people will oftentimes use alcohol for what we call liquid wisdom, you know, and liquid courage. You know, this is what this is referring to. Is don't fool yourself into thinking you're better because, or you know how like guy go to the club and he normally don't talk to nobody. He has scared of women till he get 2 Hennessy's in him. Yeah. Then right. This saying what? Hey fool, you look worse then. You look worse when you're slurring your speech and you can't have walking. And you thinking, you know how you seen folks thinking they can dance in the drink. That's the modern day application of this, okay? Now,
Or they know everything, Pastor.
right, yeah, they get drunk, and I got a neighbor like that. They get drunk and know everything. I said neighbor. I got a neighbor, not somebody I know in this congregation. A neighbor like that. And so one day, for example, I'm in my driveway, okay, I'm minding my own day. And he come over and we start to talking, all right? Now, as you know, I have my pilot's license. I don't fly anymore, but I still have my pilot's license. At that time, I was still flying. He'd come over and there was a plane that had crashed. So he came just discussing it. So I, tried to tell him what probably happened. Oh, no. No, let me tell you, he said, no, because you can't do it that way. He was talking about how you apply an autopilot. And I said, you can't use an autopilot to land a plane. Yes, you can. I said, no, you can't. Yes, you can. I know what I'm talking about. I said, no, you can use an autopilot to plot the landing course. But when you get so far in, you have to click it off. It's a regulation. You're going to tell me what? I know this stuff. It's okay. Okay. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. You're as drunk as you can be. Because when people get drunk, they think you stupid. And they all of a sudden know everything. Okay? Yeah. So the moral of that story is, some of y'all need to stop drinking. Water or some tea, or get glaucoma, but do you know this is true? This is true. Do you know that I got an email from a concerned relative that reminded me that marijuana was now legal to be prescribed by my eye doctor? I'm serious. I'm serious. Now, here's the reason why they reminded me. Because they wanted me to go get that.
So they can have some.
So they can have some of the legal marijuana. They said what you were like, keeping it quiet. Because, I ain't putting smoke in my lungs no more. I stopped smoking. I stopped smoking when I was 24, it's a long time ago. And if I hadn't stopped smoking, I'd be dead right now. Yeah, because I had chemical pneumonitis. So I'd be gone. Chemical pneumonitis. It's when your lungs get burned with chemicals. Basically. So I've been gone. But I'm here. Only because. Amen. I can put it in a brownie, brownie. I know, she read my prescription. I understand. Okay, all right. So, anyway, stop getting drunk. Okay. For all you all still getting drunk. Okay. 2, 8, 26, and 28 are connected. 2, 8, 26, and 28 are connected. Okay? Now, all of them deal with the same thing, which is how we handle authority. Okay? The fear of a king is as the roaring of a lion. Whosoever provoketh him to anger sinneth against his soul. That's 2. Verse 8 says, the king that sitteth in the throne of judgment scattereth away all evil with his eyes. 26 says, let me read it again.
No, you said 20, then 26?
No, I said 28, and then 26. 26 says, a wise king scattereth the wicked and bringeth the wheel over them. 28 says, mercy and truth preserve the king, and his throne is upholden by mercy. So all of them deal with really authority, okay? Now, of course, he uses a king because Solomon is the king, right? So basically what Solomon is saying is simply this. Number one is that, hey, listen, don't play with the king, all right? Because playing with the king will get you killed, okay? And he's saying what? That the king has the authority to execute judgment on you when you go against what he has decreed as being the law. That's basically what he's saying. Now, but how does that apply to us in modern day times? The same application is true for us in everyday life, and that is, you know what? Stop acting like those in authority don't matter. That's the perfect application. Stop acting like those in authority don't matter. You know, I know you're grown, everybody in here grown, but that doesn't mean that people in authority don't matter. They're in authority for a reason. So accept their authority and treat them based on where they are in that chain of command. All right? Stop thinking that, well, I'm grown too. I put my pants on like you put your pants on. So what? So what? You know? And don't think just because you think you are smarter than them that you don't have to deal or yield to them. Okay? Because the bottom line is this. If you're smarter than them and you are not as high up as they are, you have gotten too smart to be smart. Right? Yeah. Because if you're over me and you're stupid, what does that say about my smartness? I'm too smart to be smart. In other words, what I'm saying is I outsmarted myself because I thought I was smart, but I wasn't. Okay? Anytime a fool is over you, you ain't smart. Okay? I know what you're saying. Well, what about President Trump? No, we ain't smart. We're not. Listen, see, here's the reality of it is we're not smart as we think we are. I'm not saying we're not smart as we think we are. Okay, listen. If anyone that thought Trump was stupid themselves. You know, he understood marketing. He knew. I don't need to know the government. I just need to know people. Because he understood people. He said, what? People don't vote based on reality. People vote based on emotion. But I thought, not all of them, I thought, well, he don't know nothing. Hillary was Secretary of State. Hillary was married to Bill. Hillary, you know, Colonel Obama still saying, ain't no way he can win. Huh? How you doing? Why is he going to wait? No way he can win. He was nominated as the Republican candidate. They should say there's a way he can win. Because he was there. That meant what? You said, now stay home and better get out and vote and bring 5 people with you. Right? But a lot of our thought process was, he ain't gonna win. He ain't gonna win. Then you woke up in the morning. What did no one say? I should have. Knew I should have voted. I ain't worried about the daggone sale. I should have voted. Too late now. It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. If you're not out there actively engaged, if you're not out there actively trying to change your state, your status, that means what? You don't understand the concept, and the king got you. Okay? So the bottom line is what? You know, you should respect authority, and you should acknowledge authority, and you should humble yourself to the authority. Because the Bible says this about authoritative figures. God put them there. That God put them there. And he put them there for a reason, for good or bad. Okay? He put Pharaoh in charge for a reason. He knew Pharaoh was crazy, but he put him in charge for a reason. You know what the reason was? Because Pharaoh wasn't the only crazy one. The Israelites were crazy too. And sometimes when you got crazy people, you need a crazier person to straighten them out. I'm serious. I'm serious. Let me tell you something. I got some managers in here. Okay, managers, here's the deal. Anytime you got crazy people that will not work as a team, all you got to do is become the enemy. God set up Pharaoh as the enemy, which forced all those people to come together because people will band together for a common enemy. They won't band together for nothing else. They won't band together for money. They won't band together for love. They won't band together for nothing else. But you give them a common enemy, and they'll band together.
You need to go to the nursing home and preach that part, Pastor.
But the old people need to get together, huh? All right. We'll do what time we got? I might have time for it. We'll do 3 and 19 real fast. 3 and 19. Okay? 3 and 19. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling. 19. He that goeth about as a talebearer revealeth secrets. Therefore meddle not with him that meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips. Okay? Now, so basically what it's saying is that a person that has good sense does not want to argue with you. They may have an honest debate, but they don't really want to argue with you. So a person that has good sense will agree with you quickly, even when they know you are wrong. Because they don't want to keep it going back and forth. Okay? But it says every fool will keep it up. Fool ain't gonna let it go. Right? You walking away, okay, you're right. The fool like, oh, wait a minute, come back here. Come. No. We're gonna finish this conversation. No, you're right. No, we're gonna finish. That's how the fool do. And that's what this is referring to right here. All right. So the moral of the story is simple. What? Don't argue with him. Don't argue with a fool, right? Don't argue with a fool, and understand how a fool operates. So when you give it into a fool, you can't give it in too fast. If you give it in too fast, they're gonna be like, well, no. So you gotta take your time with them. Take time. Then you know, okay, you're out there. He's arguing enough. She arguing enough. Then this is how you do it. I remember on Wednesday night, Reverend Daniel said the same thing you say. Girl, you know what? The Holy Ghost all in you. I can sit it back there. Don't do that, man. You talk about life. Okay, but y'all get the gist of it, right? Okay, any questions about anything before we go? Any questions? All right. Okay, listen, that's all I got. For tonight, anyway. So listen, drive safe. Be careful to those watching in television land. It was wonderful to have you tonight. We love you. God bless you.
All right, keep it.
You better get that camera.
You got it now?
I got
get
it.
on camera now.
I got it.